Hi there everyone, Life DIY Josie here. Welcome back to my channel. Today is Thrifty Thursday when I do a throwback of one low budget idea every Thursday. For the first DIY, I will be using these ceramic plates that I got at Dollar Tree. Here I'm just using alcohol to clean up the plates. I'm also going to be cleaning up the vase as well as the glass candlestick. Doing so will make them adhere together better when I use my hot glue or Fix All or E6000 glue. Then I am going to be painting my vase using this chalk paint, and I'll just be applying a couple of coats on the bud vase as well as this candlestick. I'm applying hot glue to the bottom of the vase and I'll stick it on the plate, and then I'm applying hot glue on top of the vase and then putting the second plate on top of it. And then I am going to be applying a mixture of hot glue and E6000 or Superglue on top of the candlestick, which I then turn upside down and place on top of the plate. I am applying Fix All, which is similar to E6000, and then I combine it with hot glue for a more stable connection. And then I am going to be putting the bowl on top of the bottom of the candlestick. I am going to be wrapping some twines around those connections so that I will have a better finished look. It will cover up any imperfections and also it will give it a more farmhouse look. And that should finish it up. I will be propping it up later with some decorations. Next, I am going to be creating a faux pitcher, and I'll be using the glass carafe, and I will be using this vinyl placemat for the handle. I'm just going to be cutting a strip, and then I'm just cutting couple of pieces, half an inch wide each, a couple of inches long each, and I will use them as my handles for my faux milk jug. So I am also applying hot glue to connect my handles. I painted the handles or the vinyl strips on the top or the decorated part, and then the neutral or the cream colored bottom, that's the one that I connected or hot glued to the sides of my carafe. And then I just painted the carafe or the glass with the same chalk paint, approximately 2 coats of paint. I am using this black acrylic paint to highlight the words Farm Fresh and also add a little bit of distress paint technique onto the carafe itself. So I'll just be using this small artist paint brush and I will just dab it dry, like a dry brush technique. And then I will be dry brushing my white or cream colored chalk paint over anything that may be too dark or too black. I'm also adding a couple of dots on each side of the handle of my carafe, just so it may look like it's been hammered on. Since this is supposed to be a faux pitcher or milk jug made of a can instead of glass. Then I'm still going to be applying some black paint in different places so that it will look like it's been distressed over time, like a weathered look. And here's the finished project. I love how this milk jug turned out, and I'm just going to be putting this faux succulent plants that I also got at Dollar Tree. And then as you can see, next to this faux milk jug is my 3-tier ceramic tray, and I have just decorated it with some decorations from Dollar Tree using the pumpkins as well as the faux greenery, as well as this wooden pumpkin sign that says "Gather with Grateful Hearts." And I am so glad that it has enough clearance to hold that so that it's not hampered. I really liked how these two turned out. Next, I will be transforming these 3 faux pumpkins. For the first pumpkin, I will be applying or using a paper mache technique. I will be covering it with crumpled brown paper. It's actually a packaging paper. So I am just applying Mod Podge to connect it or to attach it to my faux pumpkin. I'm tearing brown paper and I am just applying them on different areas of my pumpkin using Mod Podge. And every time I apply Mod Podge underneath the crumpled paper, I also apply Mod Podge on top and kind of using the brush to pull the paper down. After allowing it to dry for about 10 to 15 minutes, this is what it looks like. Mod Podge dries clear. Next, I will be cutting some wooden dowel rods that I also got at Dollar Tree, and they are 6 inches long. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting each one in half, and then I am just going to connect them all together. So I used 3 wooden dowel rods, so I ended up with 6 halves, and then I'm just connecting them together using this acrylic nutmeg brown by Apple Barrel that I got at Walmart. I am just going to be painting this with that, and then I just punctured a hole on the top. So I'm just inserting my stem through the hole. Actually, if you do have cinnamon sticks, you can use that instead of dowel rods. And then I use some faux leaves from Dollar Tree, and I tied up some twines so that I can embellish the top, and then it'll give it a more really rustic look. Now for the second pumpkin, I am just painting it. This is how I paint my pumpkins, using brush, and then I'm using a tip of a pencil to hold it so that I will not be messing my fingers too much. And then I'm going to be using this leftover from my previous projects, this mop strings from a Dollar Tree mop. So I'm just going to be covering this pumpkin with this mop strings, and I'm starting from the top. I'm applying them 2 at a time, and starting from the center of the top down to the center of the bottom part of the pumpkin, and then I will put in the other 2 crisscrossing, repeating it in several sections until I am done. So until there's no more space that's not covered with the mop strings. And I'm glad that I have plenty of mop strings because you will need a lot. You would need half of a mop to complete this. Then I am just trimming the excess mop strings to give it a more attractive appearance. For the stem, I am going to be using the bottom part of this hop bush. You can actually use any bottom part of any faux or silk flowers that you can get at Dollar Tree. So I didn't want to waste it because I often have a leftover bottom part, the thicker part. So here I'm just going to be using it as my stem. I am covering it with some nautical rope to make it thicker. So I'm just going to be inserting it on the top, and I'm using again the tip of my pencil to create that hole. And then I'm just going to be hot gluing this portion here of my stem, and then I'm just going to be inserting it. Now I don't want it standing upright like this or straight, so I'm just going to bend it a little. I will be using the dull portion of my scissors, the top, and then I am just going to be bending it this way. And then after bending it, I will be embellishing it with some faux greenery, starting with these leaves and then this silk flower in fall theme. Now for the third pumpkin, I am going to be creating a nautical theme pumpkin. So I am just going to be using nautical rope that they sell at Dollar Tree. So I started off by painting 2 coats of paint on the pumpkin, and then I'm just going to be sticking this nautical ropes in different areas. But first, on this demarcation here where you see there's a line where they connect 2 halves of the foam pumpkin. So I'm gonna cover that first because that will be my starting point, and then I will be adding several strips of ropes on different locations, so it will not be fully covered with rope. I am just going to be placing them in different areas as long as I have even spaces. I'm using hot glue to attach the rope to the pumpkin, just like I've done with the mop strings earlier. And the same manner, I am not going to be applying hot glue all around because I don't want to waste my glue sticks. So I'm just placing them at random areas where I think they need more reinforcement. This is to save my material. So just a tip for you there. So again, I'm just not gonna cover all over the pumpkin, just in different locations as long as they are evenly spaced. So I only used 12 pieces of rope here, around probably 12 inches long, or the length of the circumference of the pumpkin. And it created a total of 8 demarcations or ridges. Now for the stem, I will be using this wooden dowels again from Dollar Tree. I'll be cutting them in half again, but this time instead of 6 pieces or 3 dowel rods, I'll be using 2 dowel rods with just 4 sticks. Then I am just going to be hot gluing them together. And then I am going to be wrapping around these sticks some twine that I also got at Dollar Tree. I'm really loving this coastal look. So I'm just going to be using this piece of burlap. So I just cut out some pieces here in the shape of leaves. So that will be my coastal pumpkin leaf in the form of a burlap. And I'm just going to be hot gluing it in place. I'm just going to be adding this raffia also from that same leftover piece that I saved. So nothing is wasted here. I'm just reusing or utilizing things that some people probably will just throw away, but I figured I can use it for some projects. And here's the finished pumpkin. Let me know in the comment section down below which one of the 3 pumpkins is your favorite. I think I love this the most. To display these 3 pumpkins together, I am just going to be creating a faux pumpkin patch themed tray using this brown plastic basket or tray that they sell at Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to be painting it with some white paint. And the reason why I'm doing so is just to give it a more cohesive look, since I'm going for neutral on this collection here. So I'm just doing a dry brush technique again. I am not going to be painting all over with just maybe a coat of paint would do. And I'm purposely leaving some of the, the basket weave design there. Some of them, I'm keeping them brown just to give more depth. Now I'm using this wooden sign here, and I'm going to be cutting the bottom, which says pumpkin patch. You can use a box cutter or X-Acto knife and then just cut it. And then I am just going to be hot gluing it at the front of this basket tray. And that should finish this off. Now I'm just going to be adding my 3 pumpkins and maybe add some more ceramic pumpkins from Dollar Tree, and of course those fall greenery that they also sell at Dollar Tree. I love how this turned out. It's just a simple home decor that you can use as a centerpiece, whether on your nightstand or your dining table. So I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone, and I'll see you again next week for another Thrifty Thursday. Bye!